After configuring the DNS and ADDS environment, you also need to configure the PKI deployment in your organization. For this demonstration, I have already deployed an enterprise root CA on the domain controller, and I will be using certificates from this CA for all servers and direct access clients. You can use a certificate from a public CA for the server certificates, but the advantage of using an internal CA is that you can automate the deployment of client certificates. To prepare the PKI environment, you need to complete the following steps. First, create a custom certificate template so that requesting computers can specify the subject name and subject alternative name of a certificate. Secondly, configure Certificate Revocation List or CRL publication. Thirdly, configure the root CA so that computer certificates are issued automatically through group policy. And finally, request and install server certificates on required servers. The direct access and network location servers require the use of certificates for secure sockets layer SSL authentication that have customized certificate properties. The servers must be able to request certificates that include both the subject name and additional server names in the subject alternative name attribute. To request and modify certificates from an Active Directory Certificate Services ADCS based certification authority, you must create a customized certificate template that includes the server authentication object identifier. To create the new certificate template, I will duplicate the web server certificate template. In this case, I need to modify the Security tab to ensure that authenticated users and domain computers have permission to request these certificates. I also need to ensure that the private key can be exported from the certificates. After configuring the certificate template, I need to configure the CA to issue certificates based on that template. Direct access clients need to be able to verify the certificate revocation status for the direct access server over the Internet and for the network location server over the intranet. The direct access client, when it is on the Internet, must be able to check the certificate revocation of the SSL certificate issued to the direct access server before establishing an IP HTTPS based connection. By default, when you configure an enterprise CA, it will configure CRL distribution points on the CA which are accessible to internal clients. For this demonstration, I will create an additional CRL distribution point on the direct access server that is accessible to both internal and external clients. This enables Internet clients to check the status for the direct access server certificate. To enable the CRL distribution points, you need to create a web-based certificate revocation list distribution point using IAS. In this case, I'm configuring a new virtual directory named CRLD on the direct access based IAS server that points to the CRL dist folder. I need to modify the properties of the new virtual folder to enable directory browsing and to configure security. Next, I need to share that location so that the certification authority has permission to write to that folder. After configuring the virtual directory in IIS, the next step is to configure permissions on the distribution folder so that the CA has permission to write to that folder. I need to configure both share level and NTFS permissions. The next step is to configure the CA to publish the certificate revocation list to the CRL distribution point. After I publish the CRL to the shared folders, all clients with certificates from this CA will check this folder for the CRL. After restarting the certificate service to service, I will force an immediate creation of the CRL. I can verify that the CRL has been created and published to the right location by checking the shared folder on NYC DAS. You'll notice that 2 CRL files have been published to this location. The default connection security rules use a computer certificate for IPsec peer authentication between the direct access clients and any servers accessible by the clients. This requires a certificate on direct access clients, direct access servers, and selected servers with either the client authentication or IPsec IKE intermediate object identifier. The easiest way to deploy certificates containing the client authentication OID to both direct access clients and servers is to configure certificate auto-enrollment for the built-in computer certificate template. After you configure auto-enrollment of this certificate, all computers that are members of the domain will be automatically issued a certificate the next time group policy is refreshed on the computer. final step in configuring the PKI environment is to request and install server certificates on any servers that require the certificates. In this demonstration, the Direct Access server requires an additional certificate using the custom template that I created earlier in the demonstration. In this case, I'll configure two separate names for the certificate using the common name and the DNS name. I will also change the friendly name or the display name for this certificate.